decirle a mi hija que me perdone por no haber sido tan buena madre como debí y no haber estado ahí con ella todo el tiempo. Mis papás me dejaban ir afuera mientras ellas dormían adentro, jugaba y no me pasaba nada. Yo tomé esa confianza ese día en el parque pensando que mi hija iba a estar bien, no les iba a pasar nada. Pues preferimos guardar sus cosas porque cuando ella llega y mira de todas sus cosas, sus vestidos, que todavía lo tenemos guardado. Me sentí muy mal, me hacían sentir como si de verdad sí soy esa persona, pero con realidad yo sé que no.
Pick up on some of the players in the case. So we're working on the Dulce Marie Alavez case, 5 years old, missing out of Bridgeton since mid-September of 2019. This is a photo that the mom originally provided of Dulce in her kindergarten uniform. She was going to school at the Buckshootum school. She'd only been there a week or so and had come home from school that day. When she came home from school, the mother said she took a little while to get dressed. They were going to go out. It was a beautiful afternoon. She put on this yellow shirt that had, I think, a hippopotamus on it and some flowered pants, sandals. This is a picture of her at that Sunoco gas station about an hour or so before she went missing. How critical a piece of this information of the last visual video of the little girl is to this investigation?
Well, it's important in that if the mother's not sure exactly what she was wearing, here we have documented evidence of what she's wearing, and that becomes important when they put the Amber Alert out, at least for the day or a few days immediately following an abduction. They want to be able to say that she was wearing a yellow shirt with a hippopotamus on it and checkered pants or flowered pants.
Sure.
And if the mother, can't remember, Dulce might have picked out her own clothes, so the mother may not have really been paying attention to what she was wearing. So this is important, and that we know what she was wearing when she disappeared.
I want to walk you through Bridgeton City Park a little bit. So from that Sunoco station, which is kind of over here in Bridgeton, they would have likely driven into the park this way on Babe Ruth Drive. This is another through street. Bridgeton High School is right over here. This is the basketball court and the park, and this is where the mother parked right here in this little parking spot. It's next to a concession stand that's no longer in use. So this building was not operational at the time. They park here. Mom and younger sister stay in the car. They're scratching off lottery tickets. And Dulce and her younger brother Manny go running through these trees here, which they're a little more dense at this point than they are now. This basketball court, there's a hill around it. There's a fence around it. It blocks the view of this playground. How challenging is this terrain after the fact for authorities, including the FBI, the card team who arrived the next day?
Well, I don't know that necessarily you could say it's challenging, but obviously the problem is, now you're losing a key eyewitness in the mother, and that she can't see the playground where Dulce is headed to before she disappears. And obviously there are no cameras in any of these buildings, even the operational buildings. So there's really nobody who's a potential witness to this, unless there just happens to be somebody else in the park at the time.
Yeah, there were people
playing or playing basketball.
Yeah, and they've interviewed all those people, and they've interviewed some of those people multiple times. Are they important witnesses?
Well, they are, because obviously they were a lot closer to the last place we know Dulce was, which is that playground before she disappeared. if they're playing basketball, they may not be paying attention to two little kids going to a playground in a park. There's nothing unusual about that. So,
Sure.
It's hard to know what the value of their information will be, but clearly if they had a view of the playground, one of them could have seen somebody who might have led Dulce off behind that public works building, with a younger brother talking about.
Yeah, we're told the younger brother dropped his ice cream somewhere in this vicinity and had seen a person in either that red van, red truck, Hispanic gentleman, light skin, medium build, acne on his face, somewhere behind these buildings. That's quite a distance from where she was parked at that point. And no surveillance cameras on here, and no surveillance cameras put in since. Had they put in surveillance cameers since then, would that help with anything?
No, not with this investigation. Obviously, you need surveillance contemporaneous with her disappearance. Now, they wouldn't serve any purpose in this investigation.
Okay. I'm going to move over to the mom, and we talked about this a few minutes ago, but she was interviewed until after midnight, the same night that Dulce disappeared. She was at the park the next day. Talk to me about what you see in this picture here and the demeanor and how important her demeanor might have been to authorities that day.
Well, immediately after the abduction, it's hard, I think, to put too much importance on the demeanor of a parent. Now, clearly, if there are no eyewitnesses to the abduction, the police are going to go on the assumption that it is an abduction, but they're always going to start closest to the victim.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think of the relationships to a victim as concentric circles, the mother, the father, who is not, wasn't in the area, lives in Mexico, and he's kind of out of the picture. But you're always going to start closest and move out. Because the simple fact is, stranger child abductions are relatively rare. It's almost always a relative, or someone who has a relationship with the victim. So that's where law enforcement's going to start. So,
well, we're still on mom.
Right. So her demeanor immediately after the reported disappearance, it's important in the big picture. I don't think we can say just based on her demeanor at the time of that interview. I don't think we can necessarily put too much importance on her demeanor right then, but it is certainly something that behavioral analysts are going to look at. Her demeanor then, her demeanor during the 911, her demeanor during these media interviews.
Or a polygraph, per se.
Her demeanor during a polygraph or during the law enforcement interviews, which obviously we as the public don't have access to, but the FBI's behavioral analysis unit does.
Yeah, we don't know the outcome of a polygraph. We do know that she had 1 or 2 cell phones, and one was given back to her. So while we're on mom here, would they give her cell phone back if it contained critical evidence?
No. I mean, if the phone had something on it that was evidence of a potential crime, the police would keep it.
For that very reason.
Right, because now it's evidence of a potential crime. They don't know, the prosecutor may not know exactly how that evidence is going to be used ultimately at this point, but it's evidence.
Sure.
So they're going on the assumption that a crime has been committed here, which, a child abduction or a child disappearance, is. So the prosecutor is looking at how are we going to prosecute this. If it ever gets to that. I mean, the police obviously are looking for as much forensic evidence as they can collect to use in the investigation. And the prosecutor is thinking about how are they going to prosecute the case. So, yeah, if there's evidence on a phone, they're keeping that phone.
Absolutely.
Even after they get the evidence off of it.
Okay, this is Chief Michael Gaimari of Bridgeton City Police. He arrived with his officers that day, and right away they were on the ground thinking this is hide and seek. This is a child who wandered off into the woods.
99 times out of 100, that's what it is.
Okay, nothing was done wrong at that point. I'm not trying to point blame, but he really only had what the mother gave him to go on, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And, the mother didn't see the abduction, per se. All she knows is what her 3-year-old son said.
Noema Alavez Perez doesn't come out in public very often these days. She said she's gotten a lot of criticism because people think that she was not responsible the day that her daughter disappeared, but she talked to us today in hopes that people will continue looking for the little girl.
Today marks 2 weeks since the monster that took my daughter.
It's been 2 weeks of agony for Noema Alavez Perez as she wonders who took her 5-year-old daughter Dulce and how the little girl's doing.
I always think of her, thinking that she's crying, that she misses us a lot.
Perez met us Monday at Bridgeton City Park where Dulce disappeared. She believes her daughter was abducted but says she doesn't know who did it. Police offer a similar explanation. At first, they issued an Amber Alert calling for the public to look out for a man in a red minivan or SUV. They've now described that person as someone they just want to talk to, and they tell us they have no strong suspects. Perez says she's answered every question she can and allowed investigators to look through her phone at least 3 times. She says she had Dulce when she was just 14 years old with a man who now lives in Mexico. Do you think he's involved in this?
I don't think so, because he's in Mexico.
Is he still there?
Yes.
He hasn't come here?
No, he can't because he doesn't have the money to come.
Perez, who's 19, told us she's now 5 months pregnant with a child from a different boyfriend. She says she let her parents have custody of Dulce. The girl's favorite toy is Elsa from Frozen, and she loves to sing the character's signature song. As days turn to weeks, Perez and her mother are begging people not to forget Dulce.
If somebody knows something, please come forward and talk. We miss her a lot. Our family, everyone does.
Well, getting back to one of the things that a lot of people have questioned, why was Noema Alavez Perez in her car at the time that the young girl disappeared? She was playing with her little brother. She says that she was in the car doing a lottery scratch-off and helping her sister with homework. We're live in Bridgeton. Cleve Bryant, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Cleve, thank you. Together. We're going to walk right through this park. You can see these railroad ties and some of the rope that is at the edge of the parking lot there where the mother was parked. And then we're going to walk through this area, and I just want people to get a feel for kind of how far it was where Dulce and her little brother were playing. So just kind of come along with me here. The woods line over here to the left, I'm going to take you there in a few minutes, but I would ask you to take note that it was a whole lot more lush in September. It was a really nice, warm, sunny afternoon that day after school for Dulce and her little brother. They had just stopped to get ice cream and brought it here. So this is a playground, and there's new equipment here now. They renovated the playground. It was actually under construction at the time, and Dulce's mom had said that Manny and her daughter were playing on the swings. The swings were turned in a different direction in September, but these are the swings, and this is the playground area. You can see if you maneuver the video a little bit, you're able to work with the video and kind of turn it around for that 360 view. We noticed earlier this morning there's some pictures of Dulce on the bench. We're going to continue in this direction. And what you're going to see here in a second is the Department of Public Works buildings. We're going to go up a little bit of the hill here. And these buildings, we learned during the course of the investigation, they close at 3 o'clock. So when the Alavez Perez family was here that afternoon in September, and when Dulce was taken, this is the area where Manny, her younger brother, said he saw a red van or a red SUV and his sister get taken or go into this vehicle. It's unclear at this point how that vehicle may have been able to leave Bridgeton City Park, but I just wanted to get you a feel for the buildings, and there's no way that the mother would have seen anything take place behind these particular buildings here. You can see the flyers are still hanging on some of the trees and some of the telephone poles around us. From here, if you interactively look at the video, look how far this area is from our news van. And our news van's a whole lot taller than Noema's car, the mother's car, parked in that corner spot. There's a hill in the way, there's fencing in the way, and keep in mind, you know, Dulce's 5. She's 3.5 feet tall. Not as tall as I am, and it's really hard to see. So where I'm going to take you right now is sort of the edge of the park and the woods here. Fewer leaves on the trees in this way, on this day rather, and there's a hill that goes down here. There's a hill that goes down right here, and then there's, in Bridgeton, they call it the raceway or the spillway. So there's a small body of water, man-made, that goes from Sunset Lake more to our north, and then it leads down to the Cohansey River. And this is the area where the very next day, those search parties were out, even before it turned into an Amber Alert. All of the authorities, Bridgeton City Police, neighboring police departments, state police, the K-9 unit, this is the area, this was really the area that they were concentrating on, because if you remember, before this turned into an Amber Alert case, this mother thought her child was playing hide and seek and potentially had just run off. So the areas of that spillway, along with Sunset Lake, along with the Cohansey, the little tributaries that lead that direction, that's where the divers and the dive teams and the downtownship, I can't remember all of the agencies that were involved, but so many that came out to lend their resources and look for the little girl.